and now I'm going to invite my friend, Ren Boguiren, to join me on the screen. I've had the pleasure of working with Ren for about 4 years. We helped his company, A Slice of New York, transition to become a worker cooperative in 2017. And they've done incredible things since then, including not only surviving, but actually really innovating and managing to thrive in the midst of this pandemic. So Ren, I want to welcome you and just start off by asking you to share a little bit about how A Slice of New York has fared during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right. Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be with you all today. And, it's been a crazy time for everyone, I would say. But it's a time where we all have to learn to adapt. So even before shelter in place had gone through, my colleagues, Kurt, Joseph, and I all proactively met like a band to make a decision to prepare for a shutdown. So once the shutdown actually hit, the key moves that we made were to stop selling slices, to reconfigure the layouts of our shops, as well as stop dine-in. The main goal of this was to keep everyone safe. Now, this was a definite hit in our profit and loss statements. And to add to damage, we lost our lunch rush due to shelter in place and had to eliminate items such as salads and tap the beer from our Sunnyvale shop. But what we found was that people were ordering anywhere between 2 to 4 whole pizzas at a time between 4 to 9 o'clock, with at least 4 to 5 lines on hold at the same time, with wait times up to almost 2 hours. So we had to collectively rewire the way both our shops functioned in terms to find a recipe for success and a streamlined process. And one of the coolest things that actually happened was one of our owners, as well as our non-owners, collaborated together and proposed that we should make a personal 10-inch pizza that could be taken out fresh or taken home frozen, so that we could minimize that loss between not being able to sling slices out to our actual guests.
Wow, and your name is A Slice of New York, and I think the tagline is New York pizza in the Bay Area. So I know that slices are a big deal for you guys. So that really shows a significant adjustment and a lot of innovation.
It really does. And, coming back to the profit and loss statement, we were learning a lot through our data analysis. Angela, who's our CFO, and she was collaborating with us to help us take a look at the key performance indicators, KPIs, that were generating profits for us. So anywhere between how many pizzas we were actually selling, what kind were they, what should we be prepping on and focusing on in order to have a more streamlined, refined process and to actually prepare for one big, massive dinner rush rather than just waiting for the time to pass by. We had to reallocate all of our hours. What I think, though, was one of the coolest moves we're trying to provide in terms of live data analytics for both shops is to get the key data points that our crew would like to know by simply using an iPad or a tablet in order to understand what is making us profitable. And what we found is when people are seeing what we're losing in profit, they want to find out how we can drive the profit back up by actually seeing, where we actually making the sales at and where can we compensate.
Wow. Yeah, that's really, I think, one of the greatest promises of employee ownership is that it engages everybody across the company and it makes everyone more successful. Now, speaking of profit, I have to say I love hearing you talk about your P&L and your KPIs and all of that, because part of what organizations like us do is business financial literacy, and it just rolls off your tongue. Tell us about how that's turned out for you today. How are things looking in August for A Slice of New York after going through the pandemic?
It was really rough and grim between March and April. Sales had plummeted down about 20 to 30%, but they slowly picked back up to where they were in February after relocating our crew's schedules and finding the successful hours to capitalize on for a dinner rush. On top of that, too, we were thinking of the well-being of everybody else, and we provided hazard pay after having a very inclusive dialogue with our crew within the first few months of shelter in place. But then we had another dialogue after that to really see if we wanted the profits to go back into our pockets personally, or if people felt that the money should go back into the business And that dialogue ended up being emotional and heartfelt because everybody wanted the profits to go back into the business because that's what was keeping them afloat.
Wow, it's extraordinary to hear about that kind of win-win, mutually supportive relationship between a company and its workers and its worker owners. I know one incredible example of that is that you and all of your coworkers right now are taking the week off. It's a paid week of vacation for the entire company, and you've shut down operations. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so honestly, after having a big conclusive dialogue again, this dialogue allowed us to be supportive, realistic, adapting, and also acknowledging each other. The fact is, as a board, we decided to give our whole team a paid week off because everybody was physically, mentally, and emotionally drained. And we knew that if we didn't take care of each other, then we wouldn't have a business. We valued our crew way more than the profits, that we'd rather take a calculated hit loss than actually wreck our crew.
Yeah, and you have been a quite profitable company overall, and I know that you and Kirk, your general manager and the original owner of the company, have shared that in 2018 and 2019, your first 2 years after being employee owned, you distributed something like $300,000 each year in profit
Very
sharing.
close.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, which is quite remarkable. A company of 30 some employees, that's really, really meaningful. So we'd just love to recognize that and say that we're all looking forward to the day when you guys will be doing that again. And I'm glad that former strong state has helped you get through, is helping you get through this crisis. And Ren, I'd love to end on more of a personal note. So having known you for a few years, I think you've given some great examples in this conversation about how you serve on the board. You're clearly a leader in the company. You've started other efforts on accountability and culture in the company. So I've really seen how employee ownership has given space and platforms for your leadership, which is really inspiring. But I'd love to just end by asking you in your own words, what has being an employee owner meant to you?
Taking a lot of thought into this during such a rough time, I think what it means to me is that becoming an owner has allowed me to have purposeful, adaptive, transformative growth and enrichment, which I'm truly thankful for because through all these challenges, my team and I can actually collaborate and support each other in all the issues that we're going through in order to build a community that enriches each other for the long run. And that I feel is one of the truest and biggest blessings to be able to work together and not butt heads and to actually find common ground to help each other succeed.
We all need that right now. Ren, thank you so much for inspiring us and for being part of the conversation today.